Hello, guys. Welcome back. If I can get this in one take, you know what? Let me try something. I think it's bright enough outside. Let me try turning down the lights. See if you guys can see behind me. 1 second. Okay, I forgot this camera doesn't focus back that far. Yeah, this is really dark. 1 second again, guys. Doing a magic show, but can you see? You also see the cat? Do you see her back there doing her thing? Washing the ball. Okay, can you see behind me? Do you see all those butterflies? Okay, let me try something with the lighting. Hold on. Ta-da! Okay, that looks like a pretty good balance. I don't know if we'll do this all summer. Probably not. I just wanted you to see the work in progress. And I told you guys on Patreon, you guys know I've had 1 or 2 strokes we know of. And I don't have a photographic memory, and every so often these fall down. And I'll just go and I'll have to get it, and then I'm looking at like wherever the area is I think it fell down from. And I'm like, I don't even know where this was. Yes, baby, we all hear you back here. And so I've been, I knew a lot of them would fall down. I read a lot of the reviews, and a lot of the 1-star reviews were like within 3 weeks, all 100 and some butterflies had put up on their walls had fallen down. And I said, I don't know why. I'm really, this isn't some kind of mania or anything, but this feels like a really strong calling. And I'd said over in the community tab that I swear I remember back when I was a little kid. So I hate to say late 70s because I would only been like a toddler, but late 70s, early 80s. This kitchen looked completely different. We had chocolate brown metal cabinets, which I wish we still had. I was in love with those cabinets. They were beautiful cabinets. My parents decided they hated them. They had to go. And I don't know why. I don't think that like they started rusting out or anything. I just think they had the money to redo the kitchen. And you know how people shame other people into like changing their environment. Anyhow, we had these chocolate brown cabinets. They were this beautiful color. I'm getting obsessed with the cabinets, but I remember the beautiful color because my mom got this set of magnets somewhere, and I talked about this over in the community tab. And she was either peeling them off paper. I can't remember if she got them in the mail or what. Because I had to be super tiny because you know when you're so little that you can't see the top of a counter and your brain doesn't quite function, you don't realize that people open a package, they put it down, it's still there. So a lot of it feels like I must have been like maybe late 70s. I was born in 76, so I could have only been 2 or 3. That would make sense of why the cabinet and everything still seemed like magic. Because I seem to remember my brother and I were here, and my mother had went to the door, which was a different front door, so I'm having trouble like piecing all of this together. And she'd gotten, I guess, in the mail or maybe at a store, I don't know. But she got these butterflies. And remember, when you're that young and you can't see the top of the counter, you think when something's put down, it's gone forever or something, right? It's Magic Land because you haven't seen the top of that counter. Um, and my mother got this sheet of butterflies, and she said that she was going to put these on the cabinets, and she told us not to touch them. And she told me not to touch them. No way I could. I couldn't get up there or anything. And she looked at my brother. I seem to remember her saying, don't you touch them and blame her, because that was my brother's favorite trick. He would do stuff and he would blame it on me because once I was coming, he didn't want a sister. So he would do stuff. He would do stuff no baby could do ever and then blame it on the baby. Yeah, he had problems with me being here. But she was putting butterflies up on the cabinets, and I asked her why she was doing that, and I swear I remember her telling me butterfly garden, something like that, that if she liked them well enough, she was going to they weren't too expensive, she was getting them somewhere super cheap, so it would have just been like pennies to cover all the cabinets in butterflies. And then they were just gone one day. I don't know if my parents had a fight about it, if my brother stole them, because he would steal anything that wasn't nailed down, and if it was nailed down, he would take the nails too. Or if, I can't. There's no way. I was way too tiny. There's no way I got up and got them. I don't remember what happened to them. Now we did have cats, so some people might be out there like, "Oh, you had cats." I bet the cats stole each and every one and hid them somewhere. But we cleaned this house on the regular a couple times a year, moved all the furniture. Remember when your parents used to clean like that, and we don't do it anymore? We're just gonna run the vacuum underneath and hope for the best. Yeah, we clean like it a couple times a year, so if the cats had a stash, we would have found them. Um, they just disappear. Okay. And no, they haven't mystically come back. I wish they had. And I was remembering that, and it tumbled out of my memory the other day. And I feel like doing all these butterflies or giving mom the cabinets that she wanted, and I'm not even done yet because there are more coming in, and there are a lot of gaps in places you guys aren't seeing, like the what would you call it, the buttress or whatever up on top. You aren't seeing that. That needs filled in and everything. So I have a lot of work to do tomorrow when the other ones come in. I don't mind though. It's really zen, and you have to approach this with the idea that if you're going to put a couple hundred things up on your walls with little tiny stickers, you have to get very zen, go with God, and have a hot glue gun on standby. And just sometimes you will hear a think when you're in the middle of something, and you have to just let it go, not get angry, because you might have to do this if it's 104 pieces. I was like, that might be 104 times I use the glue gun, but so be it. I don't care. I'm really committed to this. It feels important. It feels like once it is done, I will get the message. I'm getting a lot of the message now, but not all of it. One second, guys. Let me pause to get coffee, and I'll change our lighting arrangement again for you guys. Bring up the lights. Okay, I hope I have something in here. And that all ties back into ancestor work. I've been working with my ancestors. I've been working with my parents. I've been working with my brother. I've been, working with, grandparents and that. And it hasn't been one of those, field of dreams things, like my dad hasn't walked out of a cornfield or something. But it has been like little signs, like if the gods use Pinterest, it seems like the ancestors are like, you know what? Good enough for us. And I did ask my mom though, and I'll let you guys know if it ever does happen. Though I thought I heard Loki snicker giggle, so this might invalidate my research. Thank you, darling. I got I said to mom, I said, if you really were doing this with the cabinets and I didn't just make up a memory because I'm listening to too many Reddit stories about glitch in the Matrix, I said, if I did not make this up and I'm not just going crazy because I hit 45, I said, could you get me a free butterfly in the mail? I said, not one I've bought, not any of the sets, but could you get me, a free butterfly in the mail somehow? I said, then I'll know you were the one with the magnets and I'm not crazy and you were doing this with the cabinets because my mother loved to decorate. I think the Polish in us. Polish people love to decorate. I've heard German people say they like to do it too. Like, who's the German supermodel that she says that German people really adore decorating, that it's really hard for them to hold back because if they could, they would have like the nails all done and she would have lots of makeup and really ostentatious outfits. And she said for to do what she does, it's like one of the supermodels. She said she can't do that, but she would love to do that. She said as a German person, that would make her happy. I don't know, like when they come here, like nobody talked about, at least with my family, it was you had to assimilate, you had to fit in, so you let all the German and Polish culture go. But she loved to paint outside, so I got paint so I can paint outside. She loved to decorate inside. I think it's a very Polish, probably German thing too, to like decorate every known surface known to man, and then to decorate the things you have decorated with. Like after all the butterflies are up, I'm gonna go, I wonder if they still sell bedazzlers. That's that's the hunky. We use a term here in a loving way to describe ourselves. That's the hunky personality of There isn't enough gaudy jewels and sparkles on everything. I must go get a bedazzler and put it on them. So yeah, it's like once this is done, I'll think my brain will do that 6 speed chess that I don't even remotely understand because I don't understand regular chess and be like, you know what else we need? Sparklers that somehow work but don't burn the house down. That's what we need. But it has felt like it's something that has drawn the ancestors closer for me, and it's just like it's a familiar thing because my grandmother, it was really strong with her with the butterflies, with my mom too. And I try to, like maybe discount it, like maybe it's just a woman thing, women and butterflies. It's always something they try to hand us, but every woman I've known hasn't been taken to butterflies. In fact, I forget what the term is, but there are people that are afraid of butterflies, and it's a genuine fear because they flutter and they're random and everything else. And they're terrified of them. And I'm like, well, so it's probably not just a female thing. I try to look up, was it a cultural thing? Like, was it a Polish thing? I couldn't find anything, and like any of the stories I was finding from the old country, I'm like, I can't see how my grandmother wasn't afraid of them because, depending on the country, it was like butterflies are really vampires, butterflies are really witches. I'm like, no wonder people are afraid of them. But doing the ancestor work, it's been really healing. And Odin had, I had seen a wolf book on Walmart, a wolf called Wander, and I wanted to get that for my birthday. He was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And just all the stuff it has in there that ties in, like hummingbirds and butterflies and all this other stuff that would make sense to me. And it talks about he loses his entire family and he has to go on his own journey. And I'm like, I'm feeling this at the soul level. But it's healing because he realizes he can't go home and he keeps talking about how much he just wants to be home, how much he just wants to see his family again. And he says, he knows even if he could go home, I think there's like one brother that's alive that integrated into the new pack that came and killed his family. Um, it would not be like being home. It would not be his family. It would not be wolves that loved him and accepted him. And so it's this really heartbreaking story. Everything that can go wrong or bad with this poor wolf does. It's like it's a really heartbreaking story, but it's based on the real life story of this remarkable wolf that, I left, I think, Yellowstone and went like 1,000 miles, I think. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it's round trip or it's like he went from one point A to point B. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you guys know when I finish. But I've been doing that and I've been listening to NDEs because, I've told you guys I've kicked off a couple times and I didn't get the whole experience, and like for decades I pushed it out of my mind because I got like a short little tiny experience I could sum up in 2 sentences, floating there in darkness, and then I'm aware of like I don't even think of a doorway, but I was thinking like it was just utter blackness all around. I wasn't scared and I wasn't frightened or anything else. I was raised Catholic and I was thinking, is this like, is hell below me? Am I gonna fall? But it was just entire blackness all around. I was just floating there. And a door, it seemed open, though I can't be sure. I think I just got the mental image of a door open and nothing really open. And these two male voices, I'll give you 20 guesses who these two probably were. I was arguing with them. They're like, you have to go back. And I'm like, no, I'm not going back there because my body will be filled with pain. And I'm smart mouthing off to two, powerful deities, not knowing I'm talking to gods at the time. And so you want your pagan NDE, there you go. I'm mouthing off to Loki and Odin, not knowing who they are. And, Odin's like, you have to go back. You have your duty. You have a mission to fulfill. And I'm like, I'm not going back. And I can't remember what Loki said, but it was basically he jumped in with that Loki energy of, you're going back, you're going to do what you're told. And it was just like, boom. I was pushed back into my body, and I'm imagining that was Loki. And I had a lot of bad words. I was only 10 at the time. But every bad word that a child that grew up with cable knew, yeah, I had those words. And it was just, it was something else. And I think, for the longest time, I felt invalidated because it seems that there's like you have the NDE, you write a book, you become a channeler, you become a therapist, you make you make a living off of it, and okay, they make a living off of it. And I think that there's just so many countless books, and there's so many people that make a living off channeling and everything, that I felt invalidated. I felt like, well, if I really had an NDE, this would be happening to me. I would have the book deal. I would have the therapy session and that. And my mom had NDEs too. We both are like Jason Voorhees. We both died several times over our lives and just kept coming back, And doctors would be like, "How did you do that? You were like dead 2 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever you were dead for." And it's just something we did, and my mom didn't mind it, and I didn't mind it. So I knew, like, at the point where my mom was dying, she was seeing people. I would feel her taking test flights and coming home. And we had like a psychic link, like we could just, you know, telepathically communicate. And I knew she just told me like the last time she was lucid, it was funny. I was really caught flat-footed because I don't drive, and I would have to take a bus everywhere. And there's a whole lot of other horrible stuff that was going on, but the highlight was I got a ladybug for my mom. And it was one of those pillow pets. And she liked ladybugs and butterflies and everything. It was the last day of her life that she was lucid. And I took it in for her because she got sick around Thanksgiving and she passed away Christmas Eve. And I was actually thankful because she was in so much misery. I was actually thankful she passed because I've passed a couple times. It's no big deal. I'm like, yeah, it's just you pop out of the body, you're on the other side, and it's like, you don't got work over here, do you? Because tell you what, I think I've earned a break. And it was just, I didn't get all that. So don't ask me about any kind of records. Don't ask me about angels. Don't ask me about past life review. I was arguing with two guys that were, guarding the door, and they're like, "You're not coming in yet." Yeah, 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 I'm coming in. And it was just being pushed back, pushed back. But my mom was like, "You just go there." And it was the same, like for her, I think it was like arriving in a train station, I think she said. And I think you get what makes sense to you, and I think you get what's gonna make you feel comfortable so you don't freak out. And I think the people that have had bad stuff are either embroidering, because I've taught for years. I've taught for years, so you kind of sort of know when the student's lying. Um, I think they embroider to like kind of kiss up to God. So they start adding in stuff like hellfire and demons of pitchforks and everything. Or you get what you think you deserve. You get what you think you deserve. You think you deserve punishment, so that's what springs up around you. And it's not really real. And somebody eventually comes and like pulls you out, and they're like, "What are you doing to yourself?" But I think it's either you get what you deserve, you get what you not what you deserve, you get what you think you deserve, you get what you expect to happen. Because remember, like I said, as I was floating there, I'm like, is hell down there? Because I'm a bad person. Because that's what Catholics are always teaching their children. And I was like, I thought I was going to free fall into hell, but of course, there's no hell to free fall into. But that's what they teach. And it was just one of these things where recently I started to listen to them, and I'm like, you know what? I'll never make a career out of it or anything. But that's the point I was trying to make. My mother and I wanted to write a book together where she had 3 or 4 experiences and I had 1 or 2. And unfortunately, I've had strokes. So a lot of details are gone. But we were going to write a book together, and I could see the cover and everything. And, at the time, I was still fighting paganism, so it was going to look like these heavenly gates and everything. But we never did write that book together. But, it was something else. And, my mom had told me she was psychic too. So she told me she saw me working with computers. And when she told you something, you knew to listen because she was always right. She was never wrong on this stuff. Um, and I have been asking her like for years now, because at first I did the stuff with the kids, but she was still alive, and then they stopped paying us, so I started doing, YouTube on the other channel, and then I switched to this channel. I keep asking my mom, I keep saying, "Is this what I'm meant to do, Mom? Is this what I'm meant to do?" Because if you told me today to, "Here's the number to call, here's where you're going to end up working, I want you to go here," I would do it. But you've got to get me, I said, "Mom, I'm about as smart as a potato. You've got to literally put instructions in my hands that say, listen, potato brain, this is where you go. This is the day you go. This is how you get there. This is how you get the money to get there. Da, 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 da. I said, you know, you have to do this because my brain's like, poof, mush. And I said, you know, I realize sometimes I'm watching stuff back and I just cringe into my seat because I accidentally use words from one culture to describe another or something. I'm like, well, what do you want? Stroke brain. It's like, you know, somebody put the margarita mix in there and it's just little bits of information floating around, but I do the best I can for you guys. And so, you know, I hope you guys are having a, I don't know if you should say good Memorial Day because we're, well, good in that you're, you know, remembering those that made sacrifices for this country. And it felt like the story fit. I got the story, it's over on the community tab for you guys. I got the core of it last night because of like what I'm reading and like what I'm going through. And the rest just came today. And I think the gods just give you gifts because my brain was starting to shut down halfway through, and then sometimes the story kind of writes itself, and I was like, okay, let's see where it's going, and if it makes sense, it does, and if it doesn't, it won't. But you guys seem to like it, so I'm happy you like that stuff. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.